everyone, it's Jen Wilson with Next Home Cornerstone Realty in Destin, Florida. And today I just wanted to put together a video talking about flood insurance in Florida. And hopefully you'll get some information out of it and it'll help you with your next purchase. So because Florida is technically at or slightly above sea level, all of it is considered to be, it just depends on if flood insurance is required based off of where you're at. So what I like to tell my customers is that the best flood zone that you can be in is considered flood zone X. It may also be labeled as 0.2% chance of flooding, but I think the way the insurance carriers will look at that is as flood zone X. So if your property is in that location, then it just means that it has a low to moderate risk of flooding in any given year, and that your lender or your insurance carrier may not require you to carry additional flood coverage. If you do opt to get flood coverage, then it's probably going to run you around $600 per year, and will just give you that extra peace of mind for not breaking the bank. Although it's not required to have flood insurance while you are in that flood zone X location right now, it's something to consider because according to FEMA, 25% of all flood claims come from properties that are in that flood zone X location. So just something to keep in mind. Now, moving up from there, there's also going to be zones A and V, as in Victor. So if you're in a flood zone A, your chance of risk is about 1% per year, or about 26% chance that the property could flood over a 30-year mortgage. The same risk is associated with the V zones. But if you're in a V zone, it just means that you're closer to a larger body of water and that you have additional hazards from storm surge or waves. So something to consider if you're looking to purchase a home or build a home that may be in a zone or a V zone is that you will likely have to get flood insurance, either required by your lender or required by your insurance company. Another thing to note, if you are purchasing a property that's in an A or V zone, you will want to get what's called an elevation certificate. It is essentially a certificate that says, okay, these zones have a base flood elevation, or what's considered the lowest height that floodwaters can be expected to reach during any given flood. So let's say the zone or the BFE is 10 feet. Then you'll want to make sure that your home that you're purchasing or building is going to be built above 10 feet to say, well, even during a typical flood, we're going to be well above that elevation. Maybe it's 11 feet or 12 feet, whatever you are able to get. The higher and that you are out of that BFE, the better, and probably the better premium that you're going to get on your flood insurance. So just something to consider. Then what I would say probably the most at risk or worst zone that you could be in regard to flooding would be considered a COBRA zone. And it is so at risk that essentially the government will not give you FEMA-backed insurance. If you want flood insurance on your home that's in a COBRA zone, then you'll have to go through private carriers, and that could run anywhere in the thousands of dollars, possibly even tens of thousands of dollars a year. So just something to consider if you are looking to buy a property in that area. And just with the changing times, changing technology, changes in topography, there are times where maybe a property was considered in a low to moderate risk flood zone and then was put into a higher risk flood zone, causing your insurance premium to go up for flood. There are ways that you can either appeal that or challenge that or change that. I will post a link to my flood insurance site that I get all my information from, and it gives you details on how you can try to fight that and keep your premiums lower. It's called a LOMA letter, a letter of map change or letter of map amendment. And so that's something that you can try to submit to say, hey, like, we're not in this higher risk area and therefore our premium should be lower. So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. Otherwise, the link below will allow you to search for different properties in the area. I do think it's pretty much for Okaloosa and Walton counties for the most part, but you can type in an address and it'll take you to it and it'll let you know what flood zone you're in regards to risk or what premiums would be based off of a certain area. I recommend that you reach out to your insurance agent. But if you don't have anybody, please feel free to reach out. I'd be happy to give you some recommendations. As always, have a great day and thank you so much for listening.